Welcome to True Tall Tales, where reality is stranger than fiction. My name is Sonny-Boy, and welcome to a new week of True Tall Tales. Now, I have a True Tall Tale for this week, so welcome for a new episode. Just said that, but my brain's just recycling right now. But I used to, in my early 20s, so when I was around 20 or 21 years old, I used to work at this company in Sydney. I won't say what it is, just for legal reasons, and just to keep people's privacy. But I used to work for this company that's probably one of the biggest companies in the world. Anyway, so I have 3 stories from when I worked at this place because they're fucking hilarious. Well, I think they are anyway, so that's why I want to share these episodes on the show. So starting for the first one, so as you know, when you work in an office, you got like pods of computers everywhere. Anyone that doesn't work in an office or hasn't worked in an office. So, there was like 10 people in my team and another team and another team. And on my floor, there was like, I don't know, maybe like 120 people, and that was one floor, and we owned the whole building. So it was very big place to work at. Anyway, so when I was working there, like I said, I was just very early, very new to the work life, even corporate work life, being 20 or 21 years old. And there's this, I think she was about 50 years old. So she was like a mum. I'm pretty sure she was a mum anyway. And she sat on a pod across from me. Anyway, anyone that knows me, I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say a germaphobe. I just don't touch a thing like, the thing that crosses the road when the man goes green. Boop, 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 boop. Like, I don't touch that. I do it with my elbow, and people call me a germaphobe. But if you secretly look at a lot of people, they usually do it with their elbow, or they get their shirt, or they do it with their knuckle. So I wouldn't say I'm a germaphobe because I feel like a lot of the population does what I do. And I'm just very vocal and open about it. But I am a clean guy. So anyone that knows me, if I was to sneeze, I would get a tissue. And if I didn't have time to get a tissue and the sneeze come, very aggressively, I would probably open up my shirt like this and I would sneeze into my shirt. Anyway, I have a very loud sneeze and I can't help that. I can't even do it right now, but it's kind of like, chew. And basically, not that I sneeze a lot because I also never get sick, but when I would sneeze at work, this 50-year-old lady that would be on her computer across from me, for some reason, just did not like me. And she would yell out every time I sneezed, "Unnecessary!" like that. And the first time she did it, I was like, to my colleague next to me, I'm like, is she talking about my sneeze? And he's like, yeah, bro. And I was like, how do you know? And he's like, she sends group emails about your sneeze of how much she hates your sneeze. And I was like, oh no, like that's so bad. Like, I don't want to, and like when you're young as well and you're at a new workplace, it's kind of like high school, right? So you don't want to like upset anyone. And she's also older than me. So I'm like, what have I done to this lady? Like, I can't help the way that I don't think anyone can help the way that they sneeze. And anyone that does sneeze, everyone has their signature sneeze. Like you would probably know your dad sneeze or your mum sneeze or your partner sneeze. Like everyone has a very distinctive sneeze. I always think it's really cute when those girls that hold it in and go like that. I don't know if you've met anyone that does that, but anyway, it's hilarious. But yeah, so my sneeze is really, really loud. I found out that she sends emails about how much she hates my sneeze, and to the point that the first time I heard it, like I just said, when I used to sneeze, she used to yell out in front of the whole office and go, "Unnecessary!" like that, exactly like that. Like I'm not even exaggerating. So I was like, okay, I didn't believe my work colleagues, so another sneeze was coming on. I was like, oh, I've got another sneeze. So I sneezed again, and she said it. She said unnecessary. I was like, wow, she really does have it in for me and my sneeze. This is so weird. So then I was just like, well, fuck her. Like, bring it on. So I started like looking out the window, looking into the sun. If you look in the sun with your eyes, it makes you sneeze. And then I worked out that if you get your hair and you like kind of like put it and finger it up your nose like this, and you kind of do, I kind of want to do it now because I want to see if you can hear my sneeze. Hang on, let me just not finger, but like shove the hair up my nose. This sounds really weird right now for the listeners, but I'm trying to get a sneeze. I just had a shower, so it's not happening because my hair's too clean. But anyway, so I used to do that, and then I was just like, bring it on. So I remember sneezing 4 times once because I shoved the hair, my fringe up my nose. I was like, "Honchu, honchu, honchu, honchu." She's like, "Unnecessary, unnecessary." And I was like, is she joking? Like, what a weirdo. Like, who does that? For anyone that hasn't worked in an office politics is like such a crazy thing. There's a lot of weirdos. Like, fact, I could be a weirdo, but I'm just saying, a lot of weirdos, corporate people always like hang out with each other. They're always like going for drinks after work, hanging out on the weekends. And I'm like, man, I need to see my actual friends outside of work. I work with you guys 5 days a week. I spend more time with you than anyone in my life. I'm okay. Anyway, so yeah, so I thought she was just a bit of a weirdo, and yeah, I just can't believe that and now all my friends tease me that have heard this story. So anytime I sneeze, they go unnecessary, based on this lady. If she's listening to this and remembers doing this, hey, how you going? I hope you're going well in life, and I bet you're very glad that I do not work there anymore, and you do not have to listen to my sneeze. Anyway, so that was the first true tall tale about the crazy lady at my work. I shouldn't say crazy, actually. Well, yeah, I can. She's going to be in for my sneeze. Second story was back in the day, anyone that watched Australian, so, American Idol was kind of like one of those first singing shows of reality shows to hit the world. And then the country started copying. And then you had Australia, and we had like Guy Sebastian winning the first one, and it was the second one. Anyone that's old enough that remembers that, it was like the biggest thing back then because there was no such thing as streaming. There was no Netflix. Internet, I don't even know, wasn't even that big yet. Like heaps of people didn't even have internet because it was expensive to have internet. Like that was like a luxury, kind of like when someone gets Foxtel back in the day. It was like that. So anyway, so Australian Idol was really, really big. The whole country used to watch it. And once again, this is the same work. We had this girl, lovely girl that worked, and she goes, I'm going to audition. So we're like, oh my God, that's so exciting. You go for it, you get in. And she auditioned and she come back and she's like, I got in the top 100. Like, oh my God, but like, no way. That's so exciting. And then she like had to take time off work, as you do, because she's, on this big reality show. And she took like, like a week off or something like that. And she messaged work and she came back to work and she got into the top 50. We're like, fuck, bro, like you must be good. Like top 50 for the biggest show back then. And there was no The Voice or anything. Like there was just one singing show back then. We're like, you must be good. So she was like, oh, I have to go to boot camp. I'm going to have to take like 3-4 weeks off work. She's already had 2 weeks off work. But as I said, our company is one of the biggest companies in the world. So they were so behind her, which they should be. And they gave her the time off. And basically her last day at work before she went over to boot camp, because I think she had to go away for like 3 weeks or something for rehearsals and stuff. Obviously they're like, oh, do you mind singing like on like, for us in the kitchen so we can, I think we had a party for her to send her off. Like we bought drinks at like, there was beer, there was cocktails at our work. So anyway, sorry, there's food in my mouth. So, yeah. So before she left, they made her sing. I forget what song she sung, but do you know when you like, maybe it's just me, I'm very similar to my sister like that, but do you know when you get like really nervous for someone, if they're not, well, kind of when I did stand-up comedy back in the day, everyone who comes watch is like, oh shit, what if they're really bad? Well, at least they got the balls to do it. That's how I look at it, right? So, but it's just that feeling where she was like, because I didn't even know she was a singer. No one did. Everyone's like, can you sing a song or what you did on Idol? She's like, yeah, no problem. So she did it a cappella, because obviously we don't have like a cheeky stereo that's coming out of the air in the kitchen at work. And yeah, she started singing, and she could sing. Like if you went to karaoke, like, oh, you got a good voice, but she wasn't that good. Like she wasn't hitting some notes. It was a bit screamy, and you seen people staring, like going like this and clapping, like you go like that. But also when she hit those off notes, people would like smile and go, like, like kind of hurt. So she wasn't bad, but she wasn't good, if you get what I mean. She could just like, sometimes she had like a good note, and the song went for ages, and we're like, okay. And when there's no music in the background and she kept on going, I'm like, fuck, like, wow, like this year must be not that hard to get into, to be into the top 50. Anyway, that's really mean to say that. Maybe it was just she was nervous in front of the work. That's what I thought in my head. Maybe she's nervous or something. And I felt really bad thinking that. So anyway, she leaves work. She's been off for like 2 weeks now. We're always like, I nearly said her name then. And I was like, oh, I wonder how such and such is doing at work. Because obviously that's work goss, that one of our friends is going to be like, a big celebrity in Australian Idol. And we couldn't wait for it to air so we could see her on TV and stuff. And so then someone from and then our marketing team at the work that I worked at kind of put her on the website of the internet because, like I said, it's one of the biggest companies in the world, worldwide. Hey, one of our workers here is in the top 50 of Australian Idol, blah, 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 blah. She's got through and had a whole thing. She works at our work, blah, 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 and did this whole like interview about her. And anyway, they needed to get like a photo of her to put in that thing that they're putting on the internet. And so they contacted, I don't know, what is it, Channel 10 back then, I think it was, of Australian Idol, and saying, hey, like, could we get in contact with such and such? And it was like our head office marketing contacting them. And yeah, for like the whole day they tried, and they just did not have her name on the list. And she never made the top 50, and she never made the top 100. So this I shouldn't even laugh. I feel really bad. This girl at our work never got through to the top 100. So never got to the top 50. We've had this big party for her. We've sent her off. She's now worldwide on this internet magazine thing that's going out from our company. Like so much. She's had 4 weeks off work. Like I'm pretty sure work was paying for it. They were just so proud of her. And it just, what do you call it? When you're digging a hole, it just got bigger and bigger. And then obviously like, you know, anyone that's working in an office as well, like goss like that gets out, and that's like popcorn worthy. Like, oh my God, like, are you serious? Blah, blah, blah. So she lied and didn't get in. And the saddest thing, well, she obviously didn't come back to work. She got fired because that's very against work rules. Like, what is she doing? Like partying on a boat? Like, you know what I mean? Was she on a holiday in Sweden? Like, what has she been doing for these 4 to 6 weeks? Like, that was our questions. You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing? And it's because she never got to come back to work. We could never ask her those questions. So like, still those questions haven't been answered. But you know, as I got older, I dissect that a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, so maybe she did audition like anyone that's auditioning, and you know, go for your dreams, and I'm a big believer in that, but she probably didn't get in. And then maybe when she got to work, everyone's like, how did you go, and then under the pressure she's like, oh yes, I got in the top 100, because it's easy just to be off work and say you got in the top 100. She probably thought, how long could I do this? Maybe I'll get down to the top 30, 50 or top 30. And then, you know, she come to work, and then work's put on a massive party for her. So she would have been like, oh my God, this is actually getting out of hand. This has gone too much, but kept herself together and kept that lie for so long. And then to the point as well where she had to perform in front of us at the company like crazy. This poor girl, she must have been under so... Like, I look at it as in like, was she just a compulsive liar and just wanted to get out of work for 4 to 6 weeks and really like the attention? Or did she dig herself too deep where she kind of did it as a white lie just to make everyone happy, and then didn't know work was going to chuck her a party, and it just got really, really out of hand, and then just thought, I'll just say I'm in the top 50, and then I'll come back to work after that and say like, no, I didn't get past that or anything, not knowing our marketing contacted them and stuff. So I guess she thought she was going to get away with it, and then got that attention, got a lot of time off work. So yeah, if you're listening to this, hello, I hope you're okay. And I hope you learnt your lesson. But yeah, that was a true tale that happened at that work as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm too nice. Look at me already. I'm always like, oh, I hope she's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if she... Yeah, but anyway, so the third thing that happened of my true tale at the same work, which I left this one for last because it's so funny. Well, I think it's funny. You know, my old housemate years ago from Bondi loves it as well. So back in the day when it was, music where it was CDs, you know, you would buy a CD and stuff, but then it started converting over to digital music. And this was before iTunes as well. This was like LimeWire, right? Where you could just go on the internet and like download music like illegally and stuff. And, you know, everyone started doing it. And it was just a new way of music. Anyway, obviously the iPod came out, and it was like one of the biggest inventions to come out back in those days, because it was just, you know, and it was the iPod that was like, you know, the really thick one, and then it like wasn't even colored, the screen. It was like pixelated gray, if you know what I mean. It was the first iPod. And as you know, Apple's just expensive in general, still to this day. But back then it was like really, really expensive. Like if you had an iPhone when iPhones came out, the first iPhone, or an iPod, like you were rich. Kind of like, you remember the time when people, when AirPods came out, and it was like, I'm not paying $400 for bloody earphones, I'll lose them. But they were so like sexy. They didn't have the cord. They were Bluetooth, and like really like rich people had them, or like fashion people or corporate. And you'd see them on the train with them. You're like, I want them so bad. I want them so bad. It was kind of like that, right? But an iPod. And this was way before AirPods and iPhone. So the iPod comes out, and it was the biggest thing ever, and everyone wanted one, and it was just really expensive. And I was living with my housemate at Bondi at the time when I was working at this company still. So I was like 20, 21, 22. I don't even know how old I was. And I saved up a lot of my pay to get the iPod, to the point that my housemate was like, oh my God, you got to get one. They're so rich. They're rich. Anyone that sees you and you clip it on your pants as well, you're like, rich. Or the commercials where they're dancing at the bus stop with the iPod, it was amazing. It was amazing. Anyway, so I saved up my money, and I went to, I'm pretty sure it was JB Hi-Fi when JB Hi-Fi first opened, and I went in, got the money. I'm ready to buy my iPod. I'm excited. My housemate was downloading music from LimeWire back at home, ready to go to upload it to my iPod. This is going to be life changing and such an exciting feeling when you've saved for that long to get it. So I went in there, and then the guy that served me was this young dude, and I told him what I wanted and stuff, and he goes, okay, cool. Like, what's your budget? And I said, oh, I saved for the iPod. And he goes, oh, like, we could get you, what about the iRiver? And I was like, what the hell is an iRiver? I've never heard of that in my life. I said, is that related to Apple? And he goes, no, it's not related to Apple. It's just, you've got like MP3s, you've got iRivers, which are brand new now. And he goes, I'm telling you the truth, they're better than iPods. iPods are just very good at marketing, and they're great. But with this iRiver, it's the same price as your iPod, so you're not going to pay more, but you're going to have double the space, double the memories. You're going to have twice as many songs and everything like that. And I was like, oh, really? So he's like, yeah, like what if you want to have more albums on it and stuff, but you can't, like you're going to pay for the same price and stuff. And with people like that, like salespeople, like I said, I'm too nice and I feel really, really bad. And in my mind, the thought that went through my mind is like, oh, what if he works on commission and he weren't able to pay rent or buy food this week, and if he sells me this iRiver, then he can pay his end meet. That's the thought that goes through my head in every situation that I do. Like, I started to feel sorry for him. Why am I feeling sorry for him? He's getting paid to work at JB Hi-Fi by the hour. I'm pretty sure he's not getting paid in commission. I'm not sure. I was young, but he was just so determined for me to have it, and I felt really bad, and he was talking for so long, and I was just like, okay, so it's the same price and you get double the space. And I said, oh, it's not as, I said, does it come in different colors? And he's like, no, they've only got black. And I was like, you know what? I'll get it. Like, maybe I'll get the iRiver and stuff, like blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I walked in to get an iPod, and I walked out with an iRiver. So I get home, my housemate's there, and he's so excited. He goes, oh my God, open the bag, show me. Is it rich? Let me touch it. Let me smell it. Like, that's how excited we were. We were so young. And I was like, oh, I've got something to tell you. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I didn't get the iPod. And he goes, what do you mean you didn't get the iPod? What did you get? And I'm like, the iRiver. He's like, Sonny, what the fuck is an iRiver? Sonny, what the fuck is an iRiver? And I'm like, it's the same as an iPod, but it's better. It's like double the space. People don't know it yet. It's brand new. iPods just have Apple iPods just have really good marketing. He's like, bro, who told you this? The guy or girl that sold it? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, he has brainwashed you, man. He's getting commission on that. He sold you. You were an easy target. You walked in there with an iPod, saved all your money for weeks, and walked out with a fucking iRiver. What is an iRiver? And I was like, I don't know. It's the same thing apparently. So I don't know, I felt really bad, and I felt like I was getting in trouble, and my housemate was so angry at me, but also laughing like, man, you got gypped. Anyway, so I was like, well, it does the same thing. I don't really care anyway. I don't care about that stuff of looking good. So my housemate uploads music onto the iRiver that I have, and it's working, and I'm listening to it. It's not as sexy, but it's doing its job. It's listening to the music, and I was just excited just to have any type of digital music to listen to. So first day, I take it to work, and I'm, catching a bus and a train to work from Bondi. Anyone that lives in Bondi, it's so hard to get out there in the morning. And I get to my work, and, I'm on the train, and not that many people back then had iPods or iRivers. So I was like, shaking my head like, yeah, I'm listening to this song. Yeah, I feel cool. Anyway, I get to work, and I start working, and I was like, oh, I better charge it. You know what I mean? Like, because you know when you get something brand new for your first time, you like, it's like when you get brand new shoes when you're in high school, and like someone steps on and goes, just christening them. I'm like, fuck off, cunt. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't share that on the AirPod. That's so bad. My bad, listeners. I'll beep that out. But yeah, that's what it was like in high school. But yeah, and then like, you know, like you lick your shoes, or like you like take care of your phone like a baby and hold it and stuff. Like that's what it was. So I was like, oh, I'm going to charge it because I don't want the battery to low and then the battery's going to be shit. I'll just charge it all the time. So I think it was like a USB thing, and I plugged it into my work computer. And as I said, I worked at one of the biggest companies, so it was a very big office. Anyway, when I plugged it in, I sat there, plugged it in, started charging, and then my screen like went zzz, and like this thing went down, kind of like the IT outage that just happened recently, and it kind of just went blue, and I was like, what's that? And then it just kind of like fuzzed and went black and went doof, and my computer shut down, and I went, oh fuck, oh no, I hope that's not from the, because you know how they always say at your work, don't bring CDs or USB sticks or anything. Don't plug it in because you could have a virus, especially back then. It interferes it. They always say that. But in my mind, I'm like, well, it's brand new. I'm just charging it. It's just going to put power in it. You know what I mean? There's not actual any viruses or data because it's just music. Anyway, so I plugged it in and my computer just went down and went black, and I freaked out. And I was like, oh, maybe my computer's just like not working or something. And then behind me, of the 120 computers, I heard doo-doo, doo-doo. And then I heard a girl go, something happened to my computer. And I was like, oh my God. And I looked around, I kid you not, 40, 50, 60 people are standing up, scratching their heads, going, what is going on right now? And everyone's screens, all the screens going black, every single computer turning off. I kid you not. Bro, I'm like, once again, the thoughts that go through my head, like, oh my God, you are going to go to jail. This is how young I was, right? I was like 21 or something. And I was like, you're going to go to jail. This is going to cost millions of dollars at this company that you've fucked over these computers. I'm not even joking, dude. It got to the point that everyone's like, calm down. IT is getting it fixed. We don't know what's going on right now. Blah, blah, blah. I kid you not. The computers would not turn on. Like, they would not turn on. I can't even remember. Like, I don't think I went home. I think we had to wait like 2 hours, went into the lunchroom, and smokers went for a smoke break and stuff. But what I do remember is that I took out that iRiver and that called like no tomorrow, and I put it in my undies. It was this big. I put it in my undies because I literally thought like police were going to come. We're going to get frisked. They're going to know that it came from my computer. So I had to get this whole backup story, and I felt actually really sick, and I felt ill, and I was like, wow, I've caused this. This is literally going to come back to me, and I don't know how to get out of it. And I just played it cool and didn't say anything and just went along and stayed at work. And then IT fixed the computers and rah. Anyway, I get home and I told my housemate, and he seen me. I was sweating and I was freaking out. He goes, are you fucking kidding me? See, you went in and got an iPod and you ended up getting this freaking iRiver that's got a virus shutting down bloody 120 computers. So, yeah, lesson learned. I need to stop being so nice and feeling sorry for people in situations where it doesn't need to be, because like I said, it's a worker, they're getting paid for the hour. It's okay to say like, oh no, it's okay, but thank you so much, I'm gonna get the iPod. Like, stop trying to please people all the time. I'm an easy target for salespeople to come to me, which is crazy. Which, in conclusion, leads me to my last story. Unfortunately, not from my work. But it's in the same context of me being so nice and stuff. And this just happened recently. So you think I've learned from that, from, you know, being in like my early 20s and stuff. Stop being so nice all the time. So recently I uploaded an episode for this podcast to, you know, when you upload it to people listening to it, people like to watch it on YouTube, but people like to follow the socials and TikTok and Instagram. If you're not, please follow. It really, really helps. I would love that. And, you know, you can talk to me and stuff and reach out if you want to come on the show. But anyway, so I got a new follower, as you do, and on the TikTok for this podcast, and it was like the real Fred Again. And anyone that doesn't know Fred Again, he's probably one of the biggest dance EDM producers, music makers, DJs in the world right now, I would say. Well, one of them anyway. He's huge. Even like my friends' little kids like them and stuff. Like, it's all levels. Like, people getting fucked up on drugs, people going partying. Like, my mates' kids listen to them. Like, it is really good music, and I do love his music. So if you don't know Fred Again, look him up because he's amazing. Anyway, so this person added me on TikTok and it was like the real Fred Again. And do you know how people like make up fake accounts and they pretend to be that celebrity or that person? It's just like, I don't know why they do it. I don't mind it when, this person that added me said the real Fred Again. And then they're like, oh, hey, thank you for, and then they're like, please follow my page. I was like, I'm not following your page. I know you're not the real Fred Again. I actually follow the real Fred Again. And they're like, oh, I started this account. They inboxed me. I started this account because I want to like reach out to my fans and hear and just talk to them on a normal basis without flooding through like my real TikTok and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, in my mind, I was like, obviously I know it's not the real Fred Again. But once again, I'm telling you how my mind thinks. In my mind, I'm like, what if it is the real Fred Again? What if this is like a new project for him where he is, starting this new TikTok and he is reaching out to people with people thinking that it's not him, because that's what no one would believe that. But what if it is him and he's turning this into the project and he's filming it or something and we are really talking to the right one and this is for like a new Netflix documentary or show or something no one doesn't know. That's how far my mind goes. So I was like, okay, I'm going to follow you back, the real Fred Again. So I followed back and then whoever this person is, if it was Fred, I knew it wasn't, but what if it was? Then when I say to you, so anyway, they started talking and they're like, thank you for following my page, blah, blah, blah. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's not a bad thing because they're just spreading the love of Fred Again, right? Like if they're pretending to be him, at least they're like, listen to my music and these are new photos or whatever they're getting and stuff. I think that's harmless because it's all positive, right? I'm all about positive. There's nothing negative or anything like that. I mean, they are pretending to be someone else, which is very illegal. But, people do those. I guess you should be doing them saying it's like a fan page or something. This per person is pretending to be them. But once again, like I said, I felt really bad. I was like, oh no, like whoever this person is on the other end, he's like, created this account, but obviously a real big fan of Fred Again and like trying to get followers or talk to people thinking that were Fred Again. So I'm like, obviously I knew it wasn't them after my whole, thinking maybe it is him for a new Netflix show. But I was like, once again, too nice. I was like, oh, I felt really bad that they're gone to all this trouble and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I know it's not, but maybe I can feed their ego to make them think that they are Fred Again and stuff because obviously they've gone this far. So I started that. So if they message me, I would talk and they're like, oh, my new single's out, which I already knew, like the one, I forget what it is, the one that's out now. And then and then they started like talking more like, so then I started asking questions saying like, oh, who do you want to collaborate with for future songs? And the people that they were saying in the messages is probably people that Fred Again would do work with. So it wasn't like, it was actually really good answers. So I was like, oh, I could see that. And that would actually be a really good collaboration and a really, really good song if they did a song together. If that rapper come on or that singer. So they really gave really good answers. So it was kind of like when they did message, I would reply type of thing. And I was like, oh, look, let me feed their ego. I want them to believe that they are Fred Again and stuff. So once again, me being too nice because I don't want to hurt their feelings of not giving him that attention. But anyway, by day 6, I think it was, they messaged me. They're like, oh, just to let you know, it's my birthday in 2 days. You don't have to, but you could buy me a birthday present, something from your heart of what you think you should get me. And I was like, all right, the moment you start asking me for money and shit, I'm out. So I was like, delete, gone. Like, you've taken this too far, buddy. You've taken this too far. But in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is I went in to get the iPod, but got the iRiver. Someone added me on TikTok saying they were Fred Again. I knew it wasn't, but I felt bad that they've created these accounts. I went along with it. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to stop being, I don't know what the word is, because I'm not like that naive, but just being so, I don't know. I just feel bad for people if like in situations like that, because I always think like, what if it was like if I was on the other end, but I wouldn't start fake accounts. So anyway, I'm getting better. But look, thank you for tuning in for this episode, listening to my crazy stories, my old work in my early 20s. It was such a weird place. I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you've got any stories, please write into True Tall Tales podcast@gmail.com, or reach out on any of the socials, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, watch it on YouTube, all that jazz. I'd really appreciate it. If you've got a story that you want me to tell, let me know. Or if you've got a story and you want to be on the show, let me know and I'll interview you. The thing I like about this podcast is that everyone has a story. There's no right, there's no wrong. Everyone has their paths. If it's funny, sad, weird, there's just so many ways it can go. The thing I like about it is anytime someone tells me a story at a party, I'm so like, no way, are you serious? Like, I love that shit. I love hearing real stories. And so yeah, that's why I started it. So thanks again for tuning in every Tuesday. My name is Sonny-Boy. You're listening to Triple T. Adios, amigos. We'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Peace out.